it. I also like how stern you are with your beliefs, and you have a set of principles that you never waver from, which is good. A man should have a nice set of principles on him.
Thanks.
And I also really like how self-conscious you are about things you make, because it's adorable.
No.
I always encourage you to create stuff, and you say, "But Charlie, it all sucks," and I always get a big old blush like, "Oh, Kaya-san, it's so cute."
You know, people are gonna be like, what the fuck did Kaya do to them that they're all going on about him being stubborn and mean?
No, you're not mean. You're not mean by any. You have an alpha type personality.